I'm Justin Ziegler of Jay-Z Helps, a Florida injury law firm. Today I'm going to talk about State Farm car accident settlements, motorcycle crashes with State Farm, and truck accidents as well. As you can see here, this is State Farm's home office building where all the big decisions regarding the large settlements are made. This is a case where State Farm paid $25,000 to a passenger, happened to be my client. She was in a car that was going straight. Another car made a left-hand turn. They collided. My client's injuries were all soft tissue. That just means they really consisted of just neck pain, back pain, and knee pain. The other driver who made the left-hand turn got a ticket and actually was arrested for DUI. That fact that he was arrested for DUI drove up the value of the claim significantly, and that, I believe, was the main reason, along with high medical bills, that State Farm paid the $25,000 to settle the case. My client also qualified through PIP from the vehicle that she was in. That paid PIP of the vehicle that she was in, paid $10,000 of her medical bills. Another case, a passenger of a car received a total settlement of $57,000. That was actually my client as well. Of that $57,000 for his back injuries, State Farm paid $10,000. Now, why was the total settlement for $57,000, which is a lot of money? Well, he had epidural injections, shots to his lower back, to his spine. You can see the shot, the epidural steroid injection, the shot goes right into the spine. Now, the at-fault driver rear-ended my client. The at-fault driver received a ticket, which helped us, at least for negotiations, since a lawsuit was not filed, negotiations before the lawsuit. My client had a bulging discs. Actually, one bulging disc. Bulging discs, a lot of doctors will say that they're from wear and tear and not necessarily caused by an accident. The doctor recommended surgery, which drove up the value of his claim. Again, he had epidural injections to his lower back. Now, State Farm paid $10,000. State Farm was the insurance company for the driver that hit my client. Unfortunately, all he had was $10,000, which is very common with State Farm in Florida. Traveler's insurance, he happened to have uninsured motorist on his own car. He was actually from out of state and was injured in Florida, but Travelers paid $47,000 to settle the case, which the combined total settlement was $57,000. That is before attorney's fees, medical bills, and other costs. Now, his workers' compensation insurance, since he was working at the time of the accident, they paid $17,000. For his lost wages and medical bills, we were able to negotiate that amount down, and then they were paid from the settlement as well. This is another case where State Farm paid $25,000, the limits. My client was in a car. He was a passenger heading this way right there. Another car made a left-hand turn to go into the shopping center right there. They collided. My client had a fractured wrist metal put in his arm, and unfortunately the driver of his car only had $25,000. And even though she wasn't really that much at fault because she was going straight and the other car was the one that made the left into the shopping center, State Farm paid $25,000. Why did they do this? Because the value of his injuries was probably over $150,000 or more, and State Farm only had a $25,000 policy. They decided to just pay the $25,000 and not make their driver subject to possibly a verdict above the $25,000. The other car had Allstate. Unfortunately, they only had $10,000. We were able to also get $2,500 from the driver's own money to settle the case. This is a case where my client was on a bicycle. He was riding right here. He got ahead of a vehicle. The other vehicle made a right. This way, traffic over here was stopped. The other vehicle hit him. He had a tibial plateau fracture, which, if this is your knee, the middle space right there, the tibial plateau is right above that. The fracture healed perfectly. He also had a torn meniscus. That case settled for $33,000. But again, he healed excellently, really no pain in his leg. His medical bills, his PIP insurance paid, and he was very happy with the result. State Farm insured the driver of the other vehicle. This is a case where my client was riding a bicycle this way, and a driver insured by State Farm was coming here. She was going against the flow of traffic, and they collided. She has some stitches beneath her chin, which really weren't visible to the human eye, because most of the time when you're talking, you're looking at someone like this there beneath. She also had some staples to her abdomen. No ticket was issued in the case. Now, although a ticket is not admissible in a civil trial, insurance companies like State Farm put a lot of emphasis on a ticket before a lawsuit is filed. In fact, the officer blamed both my client, the bicyclist, and the driver for causing the accident. Now again, State Farm told me over the phone that they assigned 30% fault to my client. What happens in Florida is even if you're 30% at fault, you get the total value of the case, chop it down by 30%, and that's how you arrive at the settlement. Another case, my client was on a highway. He was stopped. Another car nailed him from behind. He had an eye injury, specifically his eyelid was split open. It had to get re-sewn. But again, you're going to see a common theme. This was a $10,000 settlement. His case was worth more. However, the driver who hit him only had $10,000. My client did not have uninsured motorist. So you can see already the common theme of State Farm drivers, a lot of them, drivers insured by State Farm, having very low insurance policies. And most people with low insurance policies don't have money to satisfy a verdict or judgment if you hit them at trial. Another case, we settled for $8,000. State Farm insured the at-fault driver. It happened on a highway. My client had knee, neck, back, spine injuries with soft tissue. And in this case, there was multiple people who were injured, all competing for that same money. All competing for the $25,000 policy. She received $8,000. There was a case with State Farm where the court said the trooper, essentially a police officer, should not be allowed to say at trial who is at fault for an accident. That's not the car from the case. Another case, I represented an injured man, a man who was injured when he was on a homeowner's property. Their dog, not the dog seen here, but it was a pit bull, bit him in his forearm. He had some nerve injuries, but ultimately healed very, very well. We settled for a total settlement of $87,000. And again, all settlements are before medical bills, attorney's fees, and costs. He got lucky because in that case, the home obviously very unlucky that he was bit by a dog, but the policy of the homeowner did not exclude dog bites. That's becoming less and less common in Florida. A lot of policies now, unfortunately, of homeowners say we don't cover dog bites, and if they do, there'll be a sublimit of like $25,000 or so. In another case, a jury awarded against State Farm. State Farm was the uninsured motorist insurer, awarded $211,000 for ankle, back, and neck injuries, again against State Farm. That wasn't my case. So I hope you got a lot out of this video. Please subscribe to my channel, like it. Call us at 888-594-3577. If you're injured in Florida, we would love to represent you. I'd love to be your attorney. Thanks so much.